The United Nations and World Peace. In August of 1941, when half the world was at war, two great leaders met to discuss how the world could be made a place of peace. The leaders were Winston Churchill, Prime Minister of Great Britain, and Franklin D. Roosevelt, President of the United States. They met aboard the British battleship Prince of Wales, which was anchored off the coast of Newfoundland. At the end of their talks, Churchill and Roosevelt issued a document called the Atlantic Charter. It stated that the United States and Great Britain hoped to make the world a more peaceful and prosperous place once Germany and the other Axis powers were defeated. They wanted the nations of the world to work together to end war, hunger, disease, and poverty. The next year, 26 countries fighting against the Axis signed a declaration that called for greater cooperation between nations in working for world peace, prosperity, and human rights. These countries called themselves the United Nations. In 1945, just as the war in Europe was ending, delegates from 50 countries gathered in San Francisco, California, to create a new organization for world peace. They called it the United Nations, or the UN for short. The UN Charter, containing the rules by which this new organization would operate, was signed on June 26, 1945. It went into effect on October 24th, which we celebrate each year as United Nations Day. Just as the United States government and many other governments have several divisions or branches, the UN was organized with several branches. The main branch is the General Assembly, which has one voting member from each country. The General Assembly votes on important issues brought before it by member nations. The General Assembly meets during a portion of each year. If some crisis should occur in the world while the General Assembly is not in session, it can be called back into session by the Secretary General, the most important official of the UN. The Secretary General is in charge of the Secretariat, which oversees the different branches of the UN. The Secretary General has another important job, and that is to bring serious international problems to the attention of another important part of the UN, the Security Council. The Security Council is in session year-round. It has 15 members. 5 members, delegates from the United States, Great Britain, France, the Soviet Union, and China, are permanent. The other 10 members are elected to 2-year terms by the General Assembly. The Security Council was designed to be the keeper of world peace. It tries to find peaceful solutions to disputes between nations. The main purposes of the UN are to keep peace throughout the world, develop friendly relations between nations based on equal rights for each nation, improve living conditions all over the world, and provide a place where nations may meet together. The first problem facing the UN was finding a place to set up its world headquarters. John D. Rockefeller, one of the world's richest men, gave $8.5 million to the UN to buy land along the East River in New York City. When the cornerstone of the world headquarters was set into place, the President of the United States, Harry S. Truman, said, "A part of the United States belongs henceforth to the world." UN headquarters in New York City were completed in 1952. The United Nations also has offices in Geneva, Switzerland, and in Vienna, Austria. The United Nations even issues its own postage stamps, which can be used to send mail from the UN offices to anywhere in the world. UN stamps have been designed by artists in more than 60 countries. They are very popular among stamp collectors. If you visit the UN headquarters, you will see the flags of all the member nations flying in the breeze outside. Nearly 1 million visitors come to the UN each year. The guides who give tours of the UN come from more than 20 countries. All of them speak English plus at least one other language. The United Nations has helped to stop fighting in many parts of the world, including the Middle East, Africa, and India and Pakistan. Most of the time, UN forces are concerned with keeping the peace and with seeing that peace agreements are carried out. But in 1950, the United Nations sent troops to defend South Korea from attack by North Korea and China. The United Nations has worked hard to rid the world of the dangers of nuclear war. It has helped to get international treaties to end nuclear testing in the atmosphere, keep nuclear weapons out of space, and discourage the building of nuclear weapons by countries that do not already have them. There is still much to be done, but the UN has shown the way toward a world free of nuclear weapons. Most of the UN's efforts go toward helping to improve the lives of people all around the world. Its organizations help the less developed countries produce more food, fight disease, find new sources of energy, create jobs, and give their people a better education. The UN also tries to protect the basic rights of people everywhere, such as life, liberty, equality under the law, freedom of speech, and education. One of the best-known organizations of the United Nations is UNICEF, the United Nations Children's Fund. Its purpose is to help needy children throughout the world by supplying food, medicine, clothing, and other important items. If you have ever bought UNICEF Christmas cards or helped collect money for UNICEF, you have played an important part in its program.